Tonight we are going to have another educator from different parts of the world, and now we have a very special guest from the USA, and she is the director and consultant at English for Life Academy, Kim Carroll. And when she comes, we are going to start our live session with her, and we will have a lot of things to talk with her. And I'm sure that we will have a very fruitful session with Kim. And she's here. I'm waiting for her to join, or let me invite her for the session to join. I have invited, if she can see it. Okay, so let me accept her to join the session. I'm waiting for her to join. Sometimes it takes time to join it. I've sent the request again. Okay. Hello,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you see me, Carol?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Wonderful, Kim.
Everything.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. It's great. So it's really great to have you, and I would like to say and thank you very much for accepting my invitation for teacher talk session tonight. And I'm sure that it's going to be a very fruitful and educational session with you, Kim.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I know you have a lot of cool people on your program, so I'm excited to be part of it.
Thank thank you very much. So I know that we are very busy, and we are all busy. So if you're ready, can we start?
I'm ready.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, I know about you, but maybe our audiences would like to know about you, Kim. So can you tell us about yourself, please, and a bit about your experiences too?
Sure, I'll tell you a little bit and then you can ask me more questions. How about that?
Sure.
So
Wonderful.
I'm from the United States. I currently live in South Carolina and I'm from the state of Ohio. And I started teaching English a few years ago in 1999, 1998.
Very nice.
Um, I started teaching English in the US, um, and I've had a lot of different versions of my job in the last 20 some years.
Wow.
And I've had the chance to teach in different countries, teach in the US, work with people moving here, working with teachers in a
Uh-huh.
lot of different countries. And I have my own business, a small company called English for Life Academy.
Wonderful.
So that's the
Wonderful.
overview.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Carol.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Kim. Sorry.
No
And so what
problem.
I want to ask you, Kim, what was or were your turning point or points in your own education?
Oh, there were so many, but one of the first ones was, well, can you believe when I started university, I was a music major? I was studying
Oh,
music.
really? Nice.
Really? Yeah. So I played music all through when I was young, and I was a music major in college, and yeah, I wasn't really feeling like that was right for me. And I just by chance, I decided to study abroad.
Uh-huh.
And when I was studying abroad, a lot of things happened, but one was I learned Spanish. I was going to a Spanish school as part of that program.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, you know what? This is so cool. Learning a language like this, teaching a language like this. There must be a way I can do this. Like I want to work with languages. I want to work with people from different cultures. So that was a
Wonderful.
big turning point that took me toward becoming an English teacher and working across cultures.
Wow, it's really interesting. It's a really nice turning point. It's a really turning point. Thank you very much, Kim, sharing this moment with us. All
Yeah.
right, Kim, you have been teaching for a long time, and in this career, in this your
Hmm.
teaching career, you probably have tried different techniques and methodologies and strategies in your lessons, or you try to teach them
Hmm.
to other teachers,
Hmm.
and probably, I'm sure that you have a kind of a philosophy of
Hmm.
teaching. So
Hmm.
what is it? What is your philosophy of teaching?
Well, I think my philosophy is a combination of a lot of different things, but one thing that's important for me is that I'm also learning as a
Ah,
teacher. So the
mm-hmm.
philosophy is something like we're all learning together. We're all in this together. How
Yeah,
about that for a philosophy?
wonderful.
Because if I am teaching, but I am not learning from my students at the same time, then probably I'm going to get bored. And
Mm-hmm.
probably I'm not paying enough attention to the people that I'm working with.
Uh-huh.
So for me, learning has to do with we're the teacher, the learner, we're all in it together. And also, that learning is not about like a teacher telling you what you have to learn and then you take a test and you
Definitely.
memorize it.
Uh-huh.
It's about constructing knowledge, and it's about constructing knowledge together. So everybody's in on it, everybody in the room, everybody in the group is all in it together, constructing new knowledge. And I think that's how we learn best, is when we're in those environments.
Mm-hmm. Mm, I see. Thank you. Thank you very much
Hmm.
for that philosophy. It's really important to learning together in an environment. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, you're
You
welcome.
just mentioned you have this is a different
Yeah,
question that I want to ask. You just
of course.
mentioned you worked in different countries, and my question is about that countries. Do you
Mm.
which country was your favorite?
No, I'm sorry. You cannot ask me that question. But because I don't have a favorite country. I think it depends on a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
I love to explore new places, and every time I go somewhere, when I come back, I want to go back. I want to go back to that place because I always meet amazing people and get to do really interesting things. So it's hard for me to say a favorite country. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I see. Okay, so let me ask you in a different way then.
Okay,
Uh,
trick me into it.
what was the most interesting thing that you faced in the
Mm.
countries that you worked?
Oh, that's a good question. So let's see. When I got a chance to be an English language fellow. Maybe some of the people on your who are listening get to know that. And so, oh, I just saw Sandra join. So Sandra, I met Sandrita in Paraguay,
Oh,
and so that was a place that I had really interesting work, and I got to meet really interesting people. And let's see, one challenge we had was while I was there, we put a teacher camp together. So we created
oh, nice.
a 3 day camp for English teachers to come. We all came to one place,
Wow.
and we had a 3 day camp where we spoke English and learned about different methodologies to teach. And it was a big challenge because there was so many people in different parts of the country coming together, and we
Uh-huh.
had to organize, and it was great. It was a
I
lot of fun.
see.
So
That's
that's one
interesting. Okay.
example.
Oh, wonderful. And a good example. Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
So, we we are educators and we're teachers, of course, and we in our career we have lots of stories, some bad stories, some good stories, or some failed and some success stories. And probably you have also some success stories, I'm sure. If it's okay, can you tell us maybe one or maybe two success stories of yours, something inspirational to all of us?
Mm. Well, the first thing I will say is after you've been teaching a while, your students
Mm-hmm.
grow up and move on to other things and get new jobs.
Yeah.
So I always feel most successful when someone that I work with, whether it's a student or a teacher, comes back to me and says, "Hey, I'm doing this now," or "I just decided to join this PhD program," or "I got a job that I couldn't have done if I didn't know English." And I
Uh-huh.
always feel most successful when I see people that I work with being successful themselves. For me, that's the biggest success. Um,
I see.
Another success for me, because I'm mostly a teacher and an educator, but
Uh-huh.
I also have been running a business for a long time now, almost 20 years, 20 years. And for me, that felt like a success because I didn't know anything about running a business. I had to learn how to do budgeting and finance and social media and, all of the things you have to do to run a business. So I worked really hard in a lot of different things to think, oh, can I do that? Okay, I guess I have to learn and learn new things
It's
that way.
nice. They're all kind of a story for you, success stories about it when you think about them.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
true.
wonderful. Great. Thank you, Kim. So, we are language teachers, and we should have some qualities to do our job as a teachers and skills.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the most important qualities and skills a successful English language teacher should possess for you?
Mm-hmm. I think I think a big one for me is being flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, in my experience, because I was mostly teaching in the United States, and that
Yeah.
means that my students are coming to me from all different countries when I teach here. So
Uh-huh.
I show up, I show up in my classroom, and let's see, my last class, I think I had, if I remember correctly, probably 10 different countries
Wow.
and 7
Mm-hmm.
different languages
Ooh.
as first languages of students in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you have to be very flexible because everybody's coming to you with a different expectation of what's going to happen in
Sure.
class, let alone a different language and cultural background. And so for me, that's a big one. And maybe that's one for you as well, working in an environment where even if all your students speak the same language, still
Yes.
as a teacher, you never know what's going to happen, right? You have to be
Definitely.
flexible.
You can't guess.
You can't guess one day to the next.
Definitely.
And a second quality that I think is important is to be curious. Um,
Mm.
to be curious about our students, to learn who they really are, what are their interests, what are their motivations to learn English, if they have any, or do they just have to be in your class? And then, if that's the case, how can you reach
Yeah,
them, right? How can
you're
you
right.
inspire them to
That's
want to learn?
important.
So
Mm-hmm.
for me, being curious is important. Also, we have to teach. People ask sometimes, well, what do you need to know to teach English? And I always say, you have to know everything.
Uh-huh.
You have to know everything because you're teaching the language, but you have to be able to talk about or communicate
Definitely.
about all these different subjects. So I think if you're not a curious person, maybe it's more difficult. And if you are curious, then you think, okay, today I'm going to learn about biology and ecosystems because that's what we're teaching. So let's go learn biology. And the next week,
Yeah,
it's going to be something different. So
I
I think
see.
it's really helpful to be curious and flexible.
I see. Okay, great. So let's try. I mean, like, let me ask you about you this question. When you think about
Mm-hmm.
your job,
Mm-hmm.
what qualities do you have that help you most in your job?
Okay. So let's see. I think I think I'm pretty flexible,
Uh-huh.
and in intercultural communications related fields, they use the term ambiguity tolerance.
Oh, I see.
Can you how do you do when things are not so certain? How can
Uh,
you like is that something that is very uncomfortable for you?
uh-huh.
Like, no, I'm very uncomfortable. I like to have a plan. Or do you feel okay when you have to go with the flow?
Oh,
And so I think I have that quality. go with the flow for the
Go with
most part.
the flow. Oh, I see. It's
Yeah.
a good thing to do it, going with the
Yeah,
flow. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Another
nice. But
thing that's important that I think is uh, um, being a good listener.
oh, that's important.
And
Yes.
I think that, I don't know, I'm just me, right? But recently somebody told me,
Mm-hmm.
no, I think you're good at your job because you're a good listener. And I thought, I have to think about that. So I'm thinking about that now. I don't know if I embody all that quality, but I try to. I think it's an important one.
That's really important, that being a good listener. Sometimes we face really difficult times about it, about the people, or even with the students, we have problems because they don't listen. They
Mm.
just talk. Yeah, so you had that little problem again.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
thank you very
Yeah,
much.
sure.
And about it. Okay, so Kim, in our lives, there are a lot of people that influence us, or maybe
Mm.
a lot of people that we influence them. So, who are the people who have influenced you, or has anyone had a big influence on you, or have you ever thought that you influenced that person or this person?
Oh, lots of questions in one.
Yeah.
I think that I have a, well, I have a lot of influences, but when it comes to teaching or thinking about being in the classroom or how am I, in the classroom, I was really influenced by a high school teacher that I had, my
Mm,
English teacher actually, and I wasn't I don't know if he influenced me about English, but he always treated us. So we were ninth graders, so we probably were, I don't know, 14 years old, maybe. He always treated us with respect. You always
uh-huh.
felt in his classroom that you were a fully functional human being, like not a little
I
kid,
see.
right? He always taught us, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. And he was a hard teacher. A lot of people did not like him because he was very strict.
Oh.
But
Mhm.
for me, it was impressive to feel like, oh, I'm an adult and I can have my own, even though I wasn't, right? I was 14.
Sure.
But I always think about that in my classes, like treating people like they are people who can make their own decisions, that can have some responsibility for making choices in the classroom. So he was a big influence on me for that reason.
I see. Great. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Kim, with us. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to remind you that if you have any questions to Kim, please write them into the question part at the bottom. If you see there is a question mark over there, so you can write there, and I can divert your questions to her directly. And there is something here, if you can see it. Heidi Utigard Demolo says, ambiguity tolerance is a good phrase for open-mindedness. That being said, is there something, a value you would never compromise on?
Mm. Yes, I think ambiguity tolerance, the phrase always makes me laugh a little bit because I think it sounds very academic, but it means something very simple. I think it's important, but that doesn't mean that you don't have a plan, right? You still have structure and a plan. And when it comes to compromising in the classroom, I one thing that I do not compromise on is having a feeling of respect
Oh,
in my
mm-hmm.
classroom, that everyone respects everyone else. And
Yeah,
so,
I see.
things people say things sometimes that, it's okay to say in their language or in their culture, but it's not something that we would say
Mm-hmm.
in English. I
I
make
see.
sure to let people know that, like, hey, I know, without judging. I mean, it's okay, but this is an idea that you need to frame differently in English. Or when it comes to students respecting each other, again, remember, I have students from all over the world in the same class, and they're adults. And so
Yeah.
people come into our classrooms with all kinds of previous experiences and previous ideas
Uh-huh.
about how different people are from different places. And so that's one thing that absolutely from the beginning of class all the way through, I make sure that
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows that we're in a space where everyone is welcome,
Uh-huh.
and you are
Exactly.
not
Mm-hmm.
you're allowed to have your own opinions and ideas, of course, but it cannot be against the other people in the classroom or any other people, because you don't know all of everyone's affiliations in your classroom. We're just going to be
Mm-hmm.
kind and respectful of each other.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much for your answer. And
Thank you,
the
Heidi, for your
yeah,
question.
Heidi. Yeah, I think love your answer. Thank you very much. Oh, okay, so let's move to the next question. So thank you. And I'm sure that you have worked a lot of projects so far, and you've been in a lot
Mm.
of projects. So are there any projects that we're working on right now, or what are some projects you're working on now?
Hmm. Right now, I work with the Access program, which again, some of your listeners might know about.
Sure.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I work on a project with them. So we work with different countries, one country at a time, access programs. And so
Mm-hmm.
I work with that. I'm working with a project for building new English curriculum in Panama, which is
Oh,
a
great.
really, really exciting project uh, to work with teachers in Panama as they are building a new English curriculum. So that's
Wow,
pretty cool. And I also do
I'm sure.
intercultural. Yeah, it's really fun. I also do intercultural communications training
Oh,
for people
mm-hmm.
that are moving to the United States. And so that's always fun because I get to work with newcomers here and help them understand cultural differences between the US and other cultures that they know well.
Uh, Not easy thing to do, but it's fun, I think.
It's really fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much sharing your project with us. All right, so you you have given the answer to this question about
Mm.
being an English teacher because you said you have a music degree, if I'm not wrong. And is there a specific reason that you decided to become a teacher, English teacher?
Hmm. No, I think it was that experience when I was studying abroad, and
Mm-hmm.
I was in Spanish class, and it was a very big experience for me
Uh-huh.
to be able to learn another language and learn about another culture. And so I thought, well, English, that's something I can do in the
Uh-huh.
US. So that's really what got me started. And then I moved into teacher training um, about 10, no, 20, oh my gosh, I'm old, a few years ago. and and I did that because in my area where I live in the US, there wasn't a lot of options for teachers who teach adults. Of course, kids in public schools, K-12 teachers, always had English as a second language teachers, but there
Uh-huh.
wasn't a lot of training available for adults or for like intensive English program kind of things. And so people encouraged me to start that kind of program so that people local to where I lived could have that kind of training. So I was encouraged by people to get started in that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Kim. And
Mm-hmm.
we all need not only teachers, a lot of people, they need that they need the motivation to go to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that we all need that motivation. So when you
Definitely.
think about yourself, what is your biggest motivation to go to work every week or every day, every week? Yeah,
Um, it's definitely the people I work with.
yeah,
It's
that's
definitely my
important.
students, or it might not be English students or the teachers that I'm working with. I really have so such amazing people that I get to meet and
Uh-huh.
work with and learn about and help them, and they help me. Again, we're all in this together, right?
Uh-huh.
So I think for me that's a really big motivation.
I see.
Um, and
That's great.
think I think in our career as teachers, sometimes it's easy to forget. You can tell me
Uh-huh.
what you think. It's easy to forget that we have an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, of course.
Because we're
Mm-hmm.
teachers, and it might be because of English, it might be because, they're going to learn English and use that, but it might also just be, like my high school teacher, like how he treated us, right?
Uh-huh.
And we have an opportunity every day with the people we work with to change something about their way of thinking or way of
Definitely.
understanding the world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's really important. And as a teachers, we have that chance, we have that opportunity, I think, to touch their, the minds or hearts, or change something about them. Okay, that's really cool and really great thing to do it, I think. Okay, so anything you want to add, or can I move another question?
No, can I ask you a question?
No, no. No, no, I mean, like, would you like to add anything else about it, about
I
the
know.
motivation?
I
Ah,
want to know, what is your biggest motivation to go to work every day? Am
that
I allowed
one,
to
that's
ask that
my
question?
kids, my students. Same, I think. I think that the biggest one is my students and the school where I work, and the students also that motivates me, because when I go to the classes, especially I've been working for a long time with the fifth graders and sixth graders, and they like 10 and 12 years old, the kids. They have really great energy, and when you go into the classroom with them, you feel that energy with them, and it directly come to you, and you feel it. If you want to feel their energy, and you become also more energetic in the classroom and during the classroom, all the lessons, and that also motivates me to see their the bright eyes, to see that they show to your that they love you, they want to be in your lesson, they want to learn something from you. That makes you really happy. And when you see that, it becomes really, something different. That sometimes I can't explain my feeling about it, but that motivates me to go there, because I love my job, and I love my students, and I love, the teaching them, I love caring them. Yeah, that's why I think that's my motivation.
Well, that's why you have so much energy too. Or maybe they're just lucky to have you as a teacher.
Yeah, unlimited energy, I think I have.
I think so too.
Yeah, and you faced it. You faced it. You experienced it, I think, when
All
I
the
was in the.
energy.
Okay, thank
Should
you.
we
Thank you
should
very
we
much.
tell your listeners that they should never compete against you in Jenga?
Ah, yeah, of course. Why not? You can. You can. I had a really great chance to, the in Jenga that we played that night. It was really interesting, and that I won all the games. I
All
still
the
remember it.
games. You are the master of all the games.
Yeah, I'm sure. Ah, thank you. Thank you for remembering that night with us.
Of course.
Okay. All right. So if let's move to another. Kim, if I'm not wrong, you have a company,
hmm
English Life for Academy.
hmm
So what is this academy, and what is it aims, and how do you help the
hmm
teachers, or how can people get benefit from it?
Originally, um, English for Life Academy was exclusively a TESOL certificate program. So
Mm,
a lot of different companies offer something like that, like the CELTA, or I think TESOL Inc. has a program as well. Um, so it was a short course for people that wanted to have the skills to become English
uh-huh,
teachers. And so that's one way that you could interact with English for Life Academy. Also, we do other teacher education programs. And more recently, the last 5 or 6 years, we also work with other companies that need programs developed for them. Not
oh,
even necessarily English, but like corporate training folks
mm,
that need um, that are developing new trainings. And so that's something that always like to remind teachers, that we're not only English teachers or English teacher trainers,
uh-huh,
because the skill set that we have to do that can be really beneficial in doing other things as well.
de- definitely.
So
Mm-hmm,
using that skill set, and working also with learning experience design, I offer
mm-hmm,
those services to companies that need new trainings developed, curriculum development, designing the training, the program,
uh-huh.
etc. So, yeah, that's what English for Life Academy does. It's mostly about teacher training and materials development for trainings.
It's great. It's great. I think you're very busy there also.
Yeah,
There's
it's
a
pretty
busy work
busy.
life there. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you about it. And you have only, do you have you only Instagram account or do you have a website?
Uh, yes, I have a website. It's English-for-life-academy.com.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for sharing. And I'll share it after the session. I'll share it again on my page. So maybe if they're interested
Sounds
in, they can
good.
go and yeah, they can go and check it. Thank you. And you have attended the TESOL exchange program with us, I think. You were
Mm-hmm.
there, you were coordinating us.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the best takeaway from there for you?
Um, my best takeaway from that program is there's no such thing as only a teacher.
Yeah.
Why? Because I
Why?
had this awesome opportunity to work with you and all the other exchange program participants. And the first day, when everybody introduced themselves, everybody said, well, I don't know why I'm in this program because I'm just an English teacher. Oh, but also, and then the list of the alsos was quite impressive of every
Yeah.
person running NGOs and working in peacemaking and, like doing all these amazing, amazing things. And so my takeaway was never believe someone when they say, I'm just a teacher,
Yeah.
because for sure there's more.
Definitely. I'm sure that all the teachers or educators that that attended that program, they had a really great, they have done great things until that they, joined that program. That's why they were there, because they did a lot of
Yeah.
good things. They were useful. They tried to be beneficial for the
Mm-hmm.
people around of them, for the students that they have,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't know, maybe other countries, or maybe in their own countries. They try to do something good, and they were successful, and that's why the people realized them and they invited them to join because you deserve it,
Mm-hmm.
because you have worth it. I think that's why I'm thinking about it. And I
That's
just,
another, yeah, that's another important thing. I think everybody kind of went in thinking, do I deserve this? And at the end, I
hmm
hope everybody realized, yeah, you're doing amazing things and we have to keep doing them. So it's good to come together and make connections with other people who
exactly,
are doing all these great things. Yeah.
exactly. Thank you very much, Kim. And
Hmm.
Azra is asking you something, Kim. Dear
Okay.
Volkan, may I ask her the toughest useful, her favorite AI apps or sites she also uses in her area? Thank you. Do you have used
Oh,
any
AI
AI
apps.
program
Hmm.
or apps?
Yeah, there's a couple that I found that I like to use for planning when I'm teaching English. My favorite one right now is, oh my gosh, it just went out of my head. The name just left my head. It is called I'll think of it in a minute. I looked at my computer and saw another app with a similar
Sure.
name, and then it was over. Okay, so I'll think of that one in a minute. But the other one, I just sometimes with my students use ChatGPT. There's probably better options, especially
Mm-hmm.
for young kids to find something that's a little more user friendly. But with my college students, oh, I didn't say I'm also teaching at the university. I also teach in my
Wow.
extra time. I teach, not this semester, but in the fall semester, I will teach 2 classes for incoming international students. So with
Mm,
them, I like to
nice.
use AI with them because I think a lot of teachers are a little bit afraid of it and they just want to pretend it doesn't exist sometimes because, students can use it in a bad way sometimes. Students can use it in a way that
Definitely.
they're cheating, they're, overusing, making the computer do their work for them. But I like to use it with them to show them how they can use it to benefit themselves, to learn English better, to come up with ideas while you're writing a paper. It can be really useful. Anyway, so I just use that with them. And the other one, oh my gosh, I still can't remember the name. It's
It's
gone
okay.
from my head.
No,
But
it's okay.
listen,
Maybe
it's really,
after the last session, we can you can tell me, and I can just the right here to share
I will
the
share it.
AI that she suggests. Yeah, we can
It's
do like
so
that.
good. It writes articles for you. I mean, it's such a big help when you need to differentiate
Really?
instruction for your class.
Wow, I wonder it too. So,
Yes, you do. It's great. So if you have something your students are going to read, but you need different versions, you just ask it and it creates the easy version.
uh,
A hard version, it creates the questions for
wonderful.
you. It's really cool.
And
And I'll think of the
Heidi,
name in a minute.
Heidi is writing there. Is it Bart?
No, it's not Bart, but now I want to see Bart too.
Okay, that's another one is Bart. I'll
That's
check it
another
too.
good one.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. I'll take you from then and then share it here after the session,
Okay,
Kim. All right?
sounds good. Yes.
Great. So thank you for your answer. And by the way, Kim, you have attended this TESOL program before and many
Mm,
times. And how did this
hmm
affect your educational progress? And what should people do to take part in this program? And
Yeah. So TESOL is, I think there's a lot of different ways you can be involved. One is going to the convention, right? It's once a
sure.
year. It's a big event. There's a lot of people there. And if I would say if you ever have the opportunity to go, it's always useful. It's always fun. It's always useful.
Uh-huh.
It's sometimes not so easy to get to because it can be expensive and travel and a lot of things,
Yeah,
but um, it,
definitely.
it's a lot, like 3 days to get there, right? And
Well,
3 days
it
back.
takes.
um, but for me, in this past year, let's say, the biggest thing for me was the community of people. It was being able to see all people that I've met from different countries I've worked in and different programs and different projects, and my teachers and people from the fellows and specialist program all in the same place. And so for me, it was really cool to be able to just reconnect with people and connect people with each
Uh-huh.
other, like, oh, you need to meet this person, and make sure. For me this year it was about connections, but there's so much, like all the new research, all the things that are starting to happen in TESOL, you're going to find there first, right? So it's, if
Definitely.
you have
Mm-hmm.
something new that you want to study, like I want to learn more about social emotional learning, or I want to
Uh,
understand more about decolonizing TESOL,
oh,
whatever it is, you're going
a
to be
lot of
able
things.
to find a track where you can go to 3 or 4 or 5 different sessions and meet people who are working on those things. And so I think you can make it whatever you want it to be, but it's always a good experience for me to go.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Thank you very much, Kim, for your
Mm-hmm.
answers. There are a lot of the new teachers, and they haven't started a career yet, but maybe they will
Mm-hmm.
start soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, what advice would you give to new or aspiring English language teachers who are just starting their teaching careers as an experienced teacher,
Mm-hmm.
an educator, and teacher trainer?
If we're talking about English teachers, advice that I give, sometimes it sounds negative, but I promise it's positive. Um, English is just the beginning of what English teachers do. So sometimes I talk with teachers who are not native English speakers, like you learn English as,
Sure.
in school, and then you become a teacher. And I talk with so many teachers who feel really shy about their English. And they think, oh, my English is not good enough to be an English teacher. And for those teachers, I have the advice: English is just a part of what we teach. There's so much more to being an English teacher because you're talking about culture. You're learning about your own culture as you learn about another culture. Of course, you want to have a high level of English,
Mm-hmm.
but don't let that stop you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be don't be too shy to pursue that if that's your goal.
I
And when I
see.
talk with native English speakers, like in my TESOL certificate program, most of the people in that program are from the US and are
Uh-huh.
native English speakers. So sometimes they say, I can't be an English teacher because I don't know anything about English grammar. because
Oh,
as a native speaker, you don't learn grammar in the same way, right?
exactly.
And
Mm-hmm.
so many people tell me, "Oh, I couldn't teach English. My English is bad." And so I give them the same advice, though. Like, you will learn what you need to learn to be the teacher. You can learn grammar as an adult. Lots of people do it.
They do that,
Um,
definitely they do.
yeah, you can learn all the things you need to learn in order to be a great teacher, and English is only one small part of it. So that's what I always advise people. And
Mm-hmm.
Heidi, you have the one that I said, brisk. Brisk
Yeah,
is the one that I like, but there's one more too. But brisk is a great one.
brisk. And rewordify. Rewordify,
Rewordify.
another one is wonderful ones, I think. Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know
Great.
rewordify, but
Me
Bard is
too.
another one that people talk
Mm-hmm.
about a lot. So
A
we have
lot. We
so
will
many
see. I'll check.
options.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Do you have any advice, or can I move another question?
Move on to another question.
All right then. All right, Kim. Okay. So the time flies. I mean, the years goes, the past so quickly.
Mhm.
So how do you see yourself in 10 years? Will you still be a teacher or trainer, or will you try another job, or you quit?
I quit. No, I don't think I'll quite be ready to retire yet.
You
Almost.
retired.
um, I like what I'm doing now. I really enjoy having different projects that I can learn new things um, learn about different places, learn about different things. Working in curriculum development on one side and monitoring on one side is for me is really fun. So maybe I'll be able to continue doing interesting things like that. That would be my hope. But not always
I see.
online. Sometimes I like to go places. Right now, I just sit at my computer all day.
It's great. I hope you will do a lot of, and you won't, the retired, and you will have a lot of years to teach and to help other people. Okay, thank you. Thank you very
Hmm.
much, Kim. You know, there are some difficult times in our, the lives, and that times, we say, oh, I wish I could have a superpower so I could easily, solve my problem or deal with my problem. So when you think about it in the classroom, if you could have one superpower to use it in the classroom, what would it be and how would it help you?
I think if I had the superpower of knowing immediately what would motivate each student,
Ah,
wow,
that's
that would
nice.
make life so easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Because some
that
students are
would
very
be.
easy. Some students, they know they're already motivated, or they talk about it all the time. So you
Yeah,
know that they
you're
love
right.
Spider-Man and that's what's going to get them to read. But some students are more difficult to know. What is it that really would motivate them to want to engage in the classroom or in learning or be excited about English or whatever it is? So I think if I had that superpower and in one day I could know exactly what each student needed, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was pretty awesome for you to do it. How can you motivate them? Okay, what you should do to motivate them? Okay, nice, nice superpower. Okay, thank you. Think that we finished the interview, Kim, and you step outside the office or home and find a lottery tickets that ends up winning $100 million. What would you do? But be honest.
Okay, first I'm glad I got the 100 million and not the 10 million. So I picked the right time for this interview.
Yeah, not a
um,
10, not $10 million. No, it's 100 million after this time. 3 weeks ago, one of the teacher asked me that, stop, $10 million is not enough. And I don't know, I'm sure that she's here and she's listening to us. And she is one of the best English language teachers and educators and trainers in Turkey. I can easily say that. And she asked me to do that. Stop asking it $10 million. Ask $100 million because $10 million won't be enough for anything after this time because people need more money. So the how can I say, uh to make your imagination bigger, not
yeah,
to put in small. $100 million is much bigger. That's why I changed it $100 million.
okay.
So yes,
I
what
like
is
it.
your idea?
Okay, 100 million is probably enough money. I probably would invest most of it and live off of the interest. I would, you know, I really like the jobs I do. I don't know if I would quit them, but
No,
maybe one or two. Maybe I just keep one job for money. Probably I would start a foundation
wow, nice.
where I could help. I don't know, probably something to do with education and like a place that would give money to train teachers, that they could get scholarships to do trainings or learn new things. I don't know. I have to think about that more. 100 million is a lot of money.
Yeah,
Could do a lot with
a
it.
lot of money. Thank you. We'll see what's gonna happen. I'm sure that we will have a lot of money. Everybody wants that money. Anyway, so thank you, Kim. And now, the time flies, and I'm gonna ask you my last question of the session, and are
Okay.
you ready for it? Okay, and the
I'm
most
ready.
difficult one. Here is the question. What is your motto?
Okay. So
Difficult
I
one,
don't
huh?
know. This is kind of a funny motto, and I said it a few times, and somebody told me, "I think this is your motto in life," and I said, maybe it is. I said to people, my motto here is everything in moderation, including moderation. Meaning, you know, sometimes, in general, you want to do things in moderation, not too crazy, not too boring, just stay in the middle. Think about teaching. Okay, I need a plan, I need a structure, so I want to keep the things going in that way. But sometimes you have to step outside of that box. Sometimes you
Uh-huh.
have to do the crazy thing and stand on the desk or sing the song, or sometimes you just have to do something a little bit outside of the box in order to keep things
Exactly.
interesting and going in the direction you want. That's my
Mm-hmm.
motto. Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Everything great, including one. Now, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the motto, Kim. Okay, so that's all my questions, Kim, about my site. And before ending our live sessions, would you like to add anything else?
Um, just that it's so great to see you, and I
Yeah,
really appreciate
same.
having this time to talk. And I'm glad we didn't play Jenga because I know you would win. And
Definitely. I'm sure I will win.
and you're so modest too about Jenga. I know. I'm just teasing you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I really appreciate that you do these sessions for teachers, and it's fun to always meet new teachers and hear their ideas. So thank you for inviting me. It's been a
You're
pleasure.
welcome. It's a really honor to have you, Kim. Thank you. And thank you very much, Kim, again. And one more time, I would like to say thank you very much and for your ideas, for your suggestions, and for your advice for us. And the most important thing, you spend your time, which is really important for all of us.
Mm.
And thank you very much, really. We are happy to have you here. And and Kim Carroll was with us tonight with Teacher Talks 157th session, and we had a fruitful session with her. And we are going to be here next week, as you know, that at the same time on the same day, every Monday at 9 p.m. in Turkey's time. And until the next time, wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And until the next time, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, Kim. And bye bye, everybody,
You
and peace.
too.